platform is a very mature product. It was released back in 2001, and the latest version, version 5, was released back in August. And the new version it really simplifies the process of accessing and exploring your data from multiple sources built using the latest technology. We have quite a few organizations worldwide using our software with, I think it's 25 partners now actually, across multiple industries. We're consistently ranked highly across multiple third-party sites like TrustRadius and Capterra, also Software Advice, which is a Gartner company, and in particular for ease of use and self-service capabilities. So we're pretty proud of that. So this is not groundbreaking information, obviously. We all know the pace and the volume and the diversity of data collection has increased exponentially. And this makes doing manual reporting, a significant amount of your reporting manually, it's unsustainable, frankly, in order for you to be efficient and competitive. So you may be needing reports for sales by particular rep, by region. You may be tracking student enrollment. You may be tracking product SKUs. You may be running reports on ad hoc basis, whether it's been daily, weekly, monthly. You may be setting up alerts based on some predefined thresholds. So consolidating all of this data, whether it's spreadsheets or wherever it lives, across all of these sources and crunching these numbers to create reports can be super tedious. You're spending hours and hours manually extracting the data, and then you're repeating that same process over and over again. So what this translates into is longer reporting cycles, in addition to the duplication of effort, because you have several people doing the same thing over and over again. So that sucks up time, and more important tasks like working on your strategy and planning gets put on the back burner. It often takes quite a bit of time to distill data that's relevant. You have different people looking at different data sets. You have different versions of the truth. And this really slows down decision making. And so what suffers? Workflows and response times. So again, you have less time to do things that could help your business or your organization grow. And I'm sure many of you are familiar with the challenges of manually doing this. So the new way is to really deliver reports that consolidate relevant information, where users don't have to spend a bunch of time finding and gathering the information that matters to them. And how you can, by scheduling report refreshes and run times manually on schedule or as alerts when specified conditions are met, you can create customized emails using HTML rich text editors, send individual or burst emails, upload FTP. You can even create your own custom automations. So what this does in this way, you're automating the filtering, the distribution, and delivery of the key data that you need across your organization. You can combine data from multiple sources into one report or dashboard. Key is to allow folks to retrieve details from a particular report or dashboard that you send out so they can do the detailed analysis on their own without having to come back to you with iterative questioning. You can email dashboards nightly, tracking daily KPIs without, again, you can be alerted when a KPI hits a certain threshold. For example, inventory levels have dropped below a certain amount. So automating this process, automating these workflows has significant benefits across your organization. It allows information to be distributed efficiently and consistently to end users based on their role. So they're only seeing information that matters to them. You can track performance metrics in real time because these reports can be refreshed with real-time data in order to allow users to make the best possible decisions. So folks are not spending time piecing data together. They're spending more of their time analyzing the data and data that they care about and data that's in context. So this improves productivity because you're saving hours of manual labor, freeing up resources. We actually have a case study, I think, on our site that speaks to this at a particular customer site. So this speeds up ongoing tracking, planning, forecasting processes. You can catch problems more quickly. You can respond quicker. You can deliver detailed, sophisticated reports very quickly. You can increase the frequency of your analysis. I mean, all this leads to better decision making. And practically, it ensures that the heavy querying, because you may have some heavy-duty queries that you need to run, you can save those for off-peak hours in order to lighten the load on your system. So that's a tangible benefit as well. So instead of going on and on and on and talking a lot about the benefits and how this might work, I want to bring Tim in to show briefly what the Informer Jobs feature looks like and the type of things that you can actually do. So let me make Mr. Tim the presenter.
All right, thank you, Sharon.
You got it, Tim?
Here, let me get my proper screen selected here. I'll be showing the wrong screen. All right,
Yep,
you're seeing my Informer screen there?
Yes, I see Informer data set.
All right, good deal. Okay, well, thank you everyone for joining us. Again, as Sharon said, my name is Tim Nicholson. I am the Vice President of Informer Services and Support here at Entrinsik. So today I want to show you a little bit about jobs, what they are and how they can be used within Informer. So as Sharon mentioned a little bit in the previous portion there, the job component of Informer can be used to automate processes and help build workflows, build your process workflows so that you're not having to constantly touch things and manually do things, freeing you up to do other work that you might need to be focused on and not bog you down with trying to have to remember to do things. The jobs piece, or the job itself, each job is made up of 3 different components. You have data, actions, and the schedule itself. So here we're looking at some data, or a set of data that I've created in Informer, pulling a list of orders, and this could be really any kind of data for that matter. It could be student data if you're in higher education or manufacturing. It could be product information, inventory, sales, whatever. It really doesn't matter. But in this case, we're looking at some sales orders. And with this data now, if I go into jobs, I can set up jobs to do a number of different things. One of the primary purposes of the jobs within Informer is to automate the process of keeping these sets of data updated so that they are current and relevant, and that you're not looking at stale data. So I can very easily create a new job for this particular data set and set it up so that it updates this data set whenever this job runs. And I can just set that one job up to do that and be done. I don't have to do anything else. Or I can add actions to this job. As well as, and then go ahead and schedule it to run on whatever basis I want. I can add multiple sources of data as well. So I can add other data sets or real-time ad hoc queries to this job. So this could refresh multiple data sets. It could run multiple queries and then perform actions on that data or using that data. As mentioned too, there are several actions that you can take. So let's say I want to email this entire list of sales orders out to my sales team. So I could send it to sales@entrinsik.com, and that's going to get my cursor in the right spot here. So I could put that as my subject then, tell what that is, who I want to send it to. I can add attachments to the email, so I could add, you know, fixed files if I wanted to, or I can attach the data from my data set or data sets to the email itself. So in any number of different formats here. So I could attach a CSV file of the data, and then I could build an email here. I've got a nice little rich text editor, so I can say, good morning. Here are our new sales orders for the day, week, whatever this data represents. And again, I can add all sorts of formatting here. So we have a full, nice, rich text editor and be able to format this however I like. I can also run this or send this email based on a condition. So maybe I only want to send this email only if there are new sales orders that I found. So I might say that there has to be at least one record in this data set before I send this email, for example. So I can, I won't get an email if it doesn't find anything new. So it's like an alert that tells me something's there that I need to do something with or I need to act on. You can also attach other components or keyword components of the data within the email itself. So we could say here are new sales order for the week totaling, and then I can add like the grand total of the order amount. So it's going to sum up all of those, all of my order amounts and give me a grand total here within my email. So it's nice and clean, and it gives me that little summary right up front. I don't have to open up the attachment. I don't even have to attach the data if I don't want to. I could just send it in summary form within the email if I like. So that's one way we can email the data. Another way is to burst the data in email. So let me jump back over to the data set real quick, and we'll take a look at the data itself. And we'll notice that I have over here the sales rep's email address in the data here. So if I want to email each sales rep just their orders, then I can use that burst action on the data and break it up by the sales rep email. So it's going to group everything by this email address and then only send the particular sales rep their portion of the data. So your sales orders for the week. And then again, I can go in and type in whatever I wanted to here for the email, and also have the condition option there. I can also add particular user data or components of the data here. Again, just like I could with the other email. So you can send information about the data and other types of aggregate data here. So we can send it out that way. So it breaks it apart. You could also format the email in a way that you could send, say you're in higher ed and you want to send out a letter to all of your newly accepted students. Then you could very easily build that email address into your data set, and then when you run this job, it would email just the new applicants their acceptance letters, for example. Another option here is to actually FTP or file transfer the data to another server. Let's say you want to automate a process to feed another application some data. Maybe it's an off-site application. It's not something that's on-site that you can write directly to it. You need to drop the file somewhere, so you can use the FTP option for that, and it uses either open FTP or secure FTP, either one, and then you just provide the connection credentials that are needed to attach to the server that you're sending to, and then attach whatever file that you want or send whatever file it is you need sent at that point. And again, you can run that on a condition so that that condition has to be met before the file gets transferred. And then lastly, you can write directly out to, let's say, a shared network drive or another server in your network environment that you have direct access to from within Informer. So we can write it out to the particular directory. So let's say I have a T drive mapped here, and I can just say T, my files, whatever directory here I want to write to, and then again we tell it what kind of file we want to send to that location. So once we have the actions set, if we have any actions to set, then we can specify the schedule at that point. And here I can set it to be any increment of time that I want, from minutes to hours to days, years, months, etc., all the way down to a custom expression if I need to do things like fire on the first and last Friday of every third month of the year or something like that. You can use these special expression called cron expressions to set that up. Or you can just use the built-in one. So maybe I want this to run every day at 11:59 p.m. So that would run at that time of night, at 11:59 every night. And then I'm done at that point. I don't have to worry about that job. Informer's going to run that job for me every time at the set schedule and perform whatever actions that I've told it to take. So that is pretty much it for jobs. As far as setting them up, you can look at job history, so you can see all the executions that have taken place each time the job is ran. So let me go to another job that I've ran previously, and we can see some of the history here. So we can see where there's been successful executions, or if something happened that it couldn't run, then it gives me an error here. I can see what's going on very easily. And I can also see a breakout of all the successful executions, any that had warnings or any failures. You can set who owns the job if you want to change the job owner, as well as collaborate on this job. So if you have a need to say, please add me to the email distribution list. So then the owner would get that message, and they could then add me to the distribution list here. Okay. So that's pretty much jobs in a nutshell there. So let me pause at this point, and if you have any questions, feel free to use the Q&A box there in the GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar panel and type your questions if you have any. And we'll try to get to as many of them as we can if we have any today. If not, we can wrap this up, but otherwise we'll start answering questions and get to them. If we can't get to them, we'll follow up with an email or contact you with a follow-up to answer any questions you have there.
Okay, great, fantastic. Thank you so much, Tim. That was awesome. There are a couple of questions that have come in, and one was, can you see job progress? But I think you just answered that one. So that's great. Another one, how does security work? So I imagine the question there is, how do you control who sees, how do you make sure who you're sending the email to, especially when we're supposed to be seeing it?
Right, that's really when you're setting up the schedule and you're emailing that content out, you really need to be careful of who you're sending it to. If there's any sort of sensitive data in the data that's being sent, that it's only being sent to people that should see it, because that's leaving Informer. So the Informer security model can't really do anything with that data once it's left Informer. So you have to be a little cognizant of where the data is going, who you're sending it to, when you're setting that up.
Okay, fantastic. Another question, why would you have multiple data sets on one job?
Well, you could have multiple data sets that are related to each other, and you need to you want to refresh them all at one time so that they're all up to date. You may have one data set that's relying on another. You can link data sets together and pull data in from other data sets. So you might need one refreshed before you do that, before you refresh another data set. So you want to make sure that that one gets scheduled or gets listed first, and then it would then run the next data set and the next data set and so forth. So that would be why you might have those, or you might want to email data from multiple sources of data. If you want to send out an email that incorporates data from multiple data sources, you might have a data set from one data source and a data set from another data source. You want to aggregate those into a single email, that sort of thing.
Okay, excellent. Next question, can the result be filtered? So if a column should not be sent, can it be removed at the time of scheduling?
Oh, that's a good question. And I don't know that you can change the data set. Actually, let me back that up. Let me before I say that, let me go in and create a new job here real quick, and we'll add that data set real quick. And so these are all hidden columns. You see the grayed out ones here are hidden. So if I want to hide, for example, the sales rep email address, I can mark it as hidden here. And then when that attachment is made, those hidden columns will not appear in that data set or in the attached file. So yes, you can control what data gets attached or sent out. Even though it's in the definition of the data set, it doesn't necessarily have to go out in the attachment. And you can also filter the data out here as well. I can filter the data down to a specific criteria within the job.
So Tim, Jerome is saying not on the report, but only filter in the email.
Right, and that's what this would do. We're not changing the data set or the report here. We're just changing what's being used in the schedule. So I'm not affecting the report definition at this level.
Okay, great. Next question, and I'm cognizant of time, so we'll just take a couple more questions, but we'll be sure to reach out if we don't get to everybody. But I think we can. I think these next ones are pretty quick. Can I access the recorded session to show other staff at a time convenient to them? Absolutely. We'll be pushing out an email of where the recording will live, and feel free to do that. We're still on version 4.7. Is this part of version 5 or a separate purchase? This is all part of Informer 5. It's not a separate add-on. From what version of Informer are you demonstrating? And this is, which one is? Yeah.
All right, so this is version 5.0.15, which is the most recent general release of Informer 5. And so what we're seeing here is version 5 of the product. If you're on version 4, you still have the scheduler component that's within 4. We've expanded that capability within this jobs definition here to do a lot more than just the regular scheduler. The scheduler in 4, you can only work on a job was attached to a single report. Here it's kind of the other way around. You can have multiple reports and data sets attached to a single job.
Okay, great. And there was one follow-up from Jerome. Then the user won't be able to see it in the report either. And maybe, Jerome, maybe we'll follow up with you one-on-one to better answer your specific.
It doesn't change the report. When they view the report, they'll still see it in the report when they're viewing it in Informer. It just won't be in the attachment that gets sent out. So.
Okay. So I think that is it. Let me just double check. You're welcome, Jerome. Let's see if there are any others. But I think we're good. Okay, so thank you for attending. We really appreciate your time. For those who are not customers on the line, if you'd like to try Informer, or if you are and are not on the version 5, feel free to reach out to us. You can reach us at Informer Sales at Entrinsik, or give us a call. If you're new to Informer and like to kind of test it out, see what the user interface is like, try it out on your own without any obligation, feel free to reach out to us as well. Happy to answer any questions. There's a bunch of information on the site, reviews and reports and case studies and videos, so that you can learn more about the platform. Again, we appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us. And if you have any additional questions, reach out to us. Otherwise, we'll be in touch. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks, Tim.
Thank you.